Here is my game evaluation video. It's probably a little bit better than last year's, just not a whole lot better. Also, thanks a lot to Brackies for your tutorials, and thanks to like 3 different other tutorials because you were useless completely on the way of me trying to make different games. So this is script number 1. Now, when you write a script in any sort of game engine, you're basically fiddling around with variables to make something work. So in this case, here are all my variables. Using a controller being character controller, speed, gravity, jump, all having different numbers. The ground distance, I don't understand what that means, and yeah, so you use these along with a vector 3 and a boolean to try and make a jumping script and a walking script work. Now, the jumping script does not work at all. The walking script does work. Now, this part of the walking script works by having the controller use inputs of WS as the vertical and AD for horizontal to move in a 2D environment, because you can't move up or down, you can only move forward, back, side, side. So it allows that using keys on the keyboard, and then using vector 3 move variable to transform where my character is going. So that transforms my player body into moving into any direction. And then the speed can be fiddled with and speed can be fiddled with using time, delta time, and the speed variable. Here is my mouse look script, which is one of my only fully working scripts at this point. So this uses some variables that are changeable in the Unity inspector, which include my mouth sensitivity and my rotation. So first, this part locks my cursor. Yeah, that's helpful. And then it uses float mouse X and Y, which are pre-made things in Unity, to move my mouse in its 3D environment up, down, left, right, but on a different axis. So instead of being on the XZ plane, it's now on the YZ plane. So yeah, it uses that and it multiplies your mouse sensitivity by delta time, so that way you can move your mouse within a certain amount of frames, and it moves you around the world using, well, that sensitivity, which is easy to fix if it ever had a problem. Now with the mouse Y, your neck only, like in real life, your neck only can go up a certain amount and down a certain amount. So I've used a math clamp on the rotation, so that way you can only look down a certain amount and up a certain amount to like floats, and using some things that can be changed in the inspector, such as which camera I want to use, which particle system I want to use for the impact effect, and muzzle flash, as well as damage, range, fire rate, and impact force. Simple stuff. Now this is only half done, but I didn't have much time left, so I can blame myself for that. So this uses my left click to fire, which is standard, and it uses our usual time and the next time to fire variable, which is prior to end at 0. So that increases every time I click fire, and if it's semi-auto, it makes a bit of a cooldown. If it's full auto, you can't just constantly spray them at like 60 times a second. You can only spray them about 30 to 20 times a second because of how I've made it. This also asks to add something to the fire rate, which makes it a bit more difficult. So, which I don't understand fire rate. It kind of works. Also, while I shoot, which is in this command, it makes my muzzle flash play, sends out a raycast, which shoots a beam straight out of any point. So in this case, it would be the point at the end of my gun, through a certain amount of like the environment until it dies. If it hits anything before that, it then stop, deal damage, and then just get rid of itself from the hierarchy, which is in the Unity Inspector on the left here. So yeah, it then uses the target script, which is over here. It's very simple. It just will take off damage every time that it gets hit until it dies, and when it dies, it just removes the game object from the Unity hierarchy. Now, this will also at some point. Well, at some point, this game isn't going to get finished. I knew that from the start. Now this would add an impact force which sends whatever it was hit flying backwards, unless it was a human. Then destroy the game object in the hierarchy after 2 seconds. Very simple code, very well. This is a completely unworking script, I'm not going to talk about it. Actually, no, I will. This script was supposed to work. It was supposed to have my number keys to change weapon, or my scroll to change weapon. It does work in one aspect, which it disables all my other guns while in game. So in the scene, it shows all of them being clumped together, but in the game, it only shows one of them once I hit play, which is at this point the pistol, because it's the only one I've actually made sure works at this point. But it would have been cool if it did work in time. This is one of my 2 custom impact effects. So this one is for all the weapons apart from the shotgun. So it has less things coming out of it, but it has the same principle where it shoots out stretch billboards between of varying size, color, and lifetimes, also speeds, just to make it look more realistic. Now, if I wanted it to be even better, I could add curvature using gravity over the lifetime, but I didn't have that much time to get this done. I just needed to have something to talk about other than my code for interest purposes. So yeah, so this has half as many half as many pieces flying out at a time compared to the shotgun. The shotgun has 174 compared to the measly 87 on the normal impact effect. Then there's also a muzzle flash, so these human models are also just some free textures I got from Dev Assets and Unity Store, because free assets are nice. They're handy. Now this is my last custom particle system, probably the last thing I'm going to talk about in this. So this uses a regular particle system, different lifetimes. Sorry, at the same lifetime, it uses a point light, which is really strange. I tried making one that was comparable to a tutorial, thanks Breckies, but it didn't work. So I just decided to make my own. It's got a very short lifetime, it has a very short count of little balls coming out, and it will light up any solid surface that is pointed at. So for instance, if I made this environment dark and I made a wall and shot at it, it would shine some of that point light onto the wall, making it look nice and different. I just got really annoyed after a while and just decided to say, you know what, I don't care. Spend an hour and a half working on this thing. Okay, I knew that I wasn't going to finish this game. I was still struggling with the movement code, which is as basic as it gets, within the first 3 weeks. Even after 3 weeks, I was still struggling. I don't even have concept art or concept sounds. That's mostly the end of this video. Thanks for watching.